Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And so I know this is a little late, but I'm really wanting to give my thoughts on this video game. Just because, I mean, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's really not surprising, unfortunately. Um, so Multiverses. We got to have a serious talk about this. Okay, Multiverses, as y'all probably know, is shutting down at the end of May for its final season. Now, in the final season, it's it's whatever you get. You're getting earned extra skins and other accessories, and you get Lola Bunny and you get Aquaman, the new characters or whatever. It's whatever. Okay, so I could speak on this game because I have been playing. Well, I started playing this game for the beta. Okay, which I thought the beta actually had a better setup than what they ended up doing for the actual game. When the game actually was released, though it took them like a year, I think, after the beta closed for them to actually, fully release the game for real. Now, I was always skeptical with this game because this game really was basis on it being free and hoping that most people would basically pay for the characters, pay for all the accessories, and they get more money on this. Now, back in the beta version, if you paid like $100, you got like 30 tickets for like multiple different characters that would eventually come out, which obviously didn't end up happening. So they ended up basically allowing you to get like extra skins and stuff like that instead at the end of this. Not a pretty good trade-off in my mind, if you ask me. But supposedly, reportedly, this game invested about $10 million. And that's counting not only like the gameplay stuff, that's the voice acting, everything, licensing, obviously, for Jason and some of the characters outside of Warner Brothers that were in this game, were obviously characters that they had to license out. So they had to pay licensing fees for those. So a lot of money was invested in this. A lot of money, a lot of, stuff that they had to pay for the in-games modes and, the fighting styles and all that stuff that they did for the game. So a lot of stuff went into this. It really astounds me that they invested this much money into this, and they just never really felt like this game was ever completed. All right? I'm not saying it didn't have its good moments, and I'm sure the people that, teamed up to go up against people online or people that, fought one-on-one against their friends and stuff like that online. I'm sure they had a good time. My biggest issue with this game was there was really no motivation value to play this game unless you were playing this game against your friends. And that's always something that I have always been not a big fan of with video games. And it seems to be a trend now with a lot of modern video games, which is really unfortunate. One of the biggest things with DLC contents is that we've kind of gotten into this whole mindset and just not enjoying the game enough. So the biggest thing with Multiverse is the selling point is it's a free game, but you have to like buy the skins or buy the characters by earning stuff in the game, or if you don't want to wait, you can pay for it yourself. Excuse me. Which is fine, But I really feel that, one of the biggest mistakes that this game made was just not making all the characters available for free, with the exception of some of the exclusives. When you're having a game, you want to have the full roster available to your disposal. What Multiverses should have done was they should have had the skins be the ones that you had to pay for, the alternate attires. That should have been really the focus and not necessarily the default characters skins for, said character. And just having more characters. I mean, each season it just felt like you'd have two characters at the beginning of a season, and then that would be it. And then maybe you would have a third or a fourth, possibly. I think the most they had were 4 characters in a season that were released. And I think sometimes it's even less than that. I think this was a big mistake. Gradually releasing characters like that, to me, is also what hurt the game, because there was no real selling point to people wanting to play this game. I mean, I can tell you right now, I tapped out of this game a few times. So there were a few seasons where I didn't play this game at all. And I just didn't care because there was nothing about the game that made me want to go back to the game. Okay? There just wasn't. Raven interested me for a little bit at the beginning of the season for Raven. But once I unlocked her right away, I was just like, eh. The story modes weren't that eventful. I mean, they had like one cutscene sometimes for some of the earlier Rift seasons, and then that was it. There was no real interesting thing going forward. And of course, the current Rifts right now are not that good either. I mean, if you do enough of them, you'd get like a skin or something right now, a character skin. But honestly, I think the current formats of the Rifts right now, with the seasons, are just basically just to have something, because they don't want to put the time and effort into having a story mode. Instead, like they had in past seasons. And again, it's really unfortunate because, from my understanding, from some of the leaked characters, obviously Daffy Duck was probably going to be in the next season if there had been a new season, or maybe released halfway through this season. Who knows? But obviously there were other characters too. Ruby Rose, which, was a lot of interest, was if Ruby Rose is going to get released, because her leaks had been around for a while because of the voice scenes that one of the Rick and Morty characters had said Ruby's name, or had implied, they said anime character and stuff like that. So there was impliedness that Ruby Rose was going to be in this. Now, I know Ruby Rose and the Ruby franchise has been sold to Viz Media, so a lot of people were wondering if they would have been able to still legally release the Ruby. And I'm not really a lawyer, but to my understanding on the situation is that if characters were developed before that, and upon the selling of it, they could make an agreement that characters that were already in development for video games would still be in the game. So I think Ruby would have eventually been released into the game had this game gone on longer. But there were a lot of characters. I mean, you could have gotten Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger would have been an interesting one if they brought Freddy in, because they already had Jason Voorhees. And Jason Voorhees and Freddy are owned really by I think Freddy and Jason are owned by the same studios right now. So that's why they did Jason versus Freddy. So I think we could have gotten Freddy Krueger. I don't know if Freddy wasn't confirmed. I don't think, but um, they we could have had it though. Um, I mean Dexter, Scooby Doo. I'm still surprised they didn't have Scooby Doo in this. Um, I know Wicked Witch was something that had been confirmed, going all the way back to the beta. So there are a lot of missed opportunities with this, and even some of the skins that should have been released for this season aren't being released. Like, Lola Bunny's OG Space Jam skin still hasn't been released, even though we've seen leaked images of it. Um, I don't know if it's going to be released like during halfway through the season or something like that. I hope it is. I know they released another outfit of Lola Bunny in the premiere shop. So there is a possibility. But again, there's just such a big missed opportunity with this. I really think the last season, the season they did with Raven, when Raven was released, I think they really banked on the fact and hoped that Raven being released was going to save the season. Um, but it just didn't happen. Just so many problems with it. I mean, hell, I could totally lie to you and say that the reason why Multiverse failed was because Superman was in the game, but fortunately we know that ain't true, but it should be. But anyways, um, but the real reason why this game failed was there was just no reason for people to go back to this game. I mean, yeah, people will say that, the gameplay wasn't that good, or I'm sorry, that, the controlling wasn't that good in the game. It had a lot of problems, and people are saying that the problems are kind of now resolved in season 5, which I disagree with that, by the way, because I've had a bunch of issues with some of the controls. When the game just glitches out. I've had so many instances when the game has glitched out, and like the character will just like do the stuff on its own, and then I'll fall to doom, even though I'm like hitting the control multiple times. I've had that issue in this season, so I don't know where people think the controls have gotten better, and I do sometimes still get the application failing on me and the game closing out. I've had those bugs still in this game in this season, so yes, there are still a lot of issues with this game, in terms of the controls and the gameplay. But I mean, like I said, it's just like if you have no reason to play the game, you're just playing the game repetitively, it gets boring after a while. It's the same thing over and over again. That's the biggest problem with a lot of modern games for me is like it gets repetitive after a while. We're doing the same thing over and over and over and over again just to get a reward. It's one of the biggest things that I mean, I hate to say it, but in Xenoverse 2 and Xenoverse 1, I mean, I like Xenoverse, but one of the biggest things I hate about Xenoverse is that in the when you try to go for like the rewards and like the quests, the parallel quests, right? Um, if you don't get it on the first one, um, you have to do it again. And then if you don't get it again, then you have to do it again. I did a parallel quest like 15 times in Xenoverse 2 and still didn't get the thing. Did not get the attack. That is bullshit. I hate that you have to keep doing it and hope that it randomly shows up. And that's kind of this problem with, and again, this is an ongoing issue, I think, with a lot of modern video games is like, why do I have to keep repeating over and over and over and over and over and over again 15 times? After 5, it should be like, okay, we're done. You're going to get it, And I'm talking about when I've had S quests, where I've gotten a rank of S in Xenoverse, and it's like, why the frig do I still not get the damn reward? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is something that I hate about modern video games. It's like, dude, why do I have to do the same fucking thing 5 times or 15 times just to freaking get a damn reward? And that's the same thing with Multiverse. With the current, you see it with a lot, but even with the current rifts that they got this season, you have to do it multiple times just to get the skin, right? Like, they're like, okay, yeah, here you go. Gotta do the skin. And then, oh, yeah, wait. Now you have to do all these, weekly and daily missions, just to get hey, you want that skin? Hey, here you go. Or, oh, you want to get those battle pass rewards? Oh, here you go. You got to do this multiple times, repetitively. And there's and again, that's fine if you have a story mode behind it. Multiverse doesn't really have that. They got, one cutscene per season, and obviously the last 2 they haven't had any cutscenes, so we're not going to probably get any more because this is the final season. So that's the big problem with it. Now the game is going offline, so you could still probably play the Rifts games again. Once it does go offline. But I mean, at that point, you can't play online anymore against people. And so at that point, the game is going to kind of be useless because you can't buy anything. You can't even buy virtual skins anymore. They got rid of the money shop. So you can't pay for any new stuff to get new things. You can only get stuff within the game, the gleams. I think they even got rid of the blue diamonds. Now you have to earn XP to get the characters or whatever if you hadn't unlocked them already. I don't know if my blue diamond, because I still had a bunch of blue diamonds, so I don't know what happened to them or if you can still use them. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many problems with multiverses, and like I said, I think if they had put more interest into the game being more storyline interest, maybe the game would have done better. And again, having the characters available and then just trying to sell the skins might have been better. But at the end of the day, if people aren't enthusiastic of playing a game that has nothing really to offer besides just, oh yeah, we're just going to keep playing until we get a certain reward that we want to get that's free, then you're not going to make money that way. Okay? You're not going to make money off the battle pass or anything. Like I tell you right now, I never spent a dime on Multiversus. Okay? I never bought any of the DLCs. Okay? I never bought the battle pass. Okay? I got the free battle pass for season 1 because I was a beta, player. Because I was a beta player, I got the first one for free. But again, I didn't have any plans on getting the beta. I knew the characters would be unlocked after the season was over because it was available in the shop to buy with the blue diamonds. So you could get Samurai Jack at the end of the season, after the season was over for him, into the next season. And I think Raven you were allowed to buy right away. So, yeah, that's the biggest flaw with this game. The game had no real thing to keep it alive. And I don't see it coming back. Some people are hoping that they can save it. You're not going to be able to save it. They're not going to be able to save it because they got rid of the money currencies. So you can't buy anything. So they can't make any new profits for this final season. There's nothing that can give them more profits for this game now. They've given up on the game. There's nothing that's going to change them to do a season 6. Okay? The only thing we can hope is that they release more characters before this season ends, which I highly doubt since we are now in the end of February. And so if we go into March, we got like 3 months. So they would have to announce something in March for a new character to be put in this game. Personally, any characters that had voice acting done, completed, and fully modeled and ready to go, I feel like should be inserted into the game immediately. So people have time to play those characters and buy those characters. But again, that's up to Multiversus, and I have little confidence on that at this point. It's a very unfortunate, big missed opportunity. But yeah, especially because Daffy's supposedly done. So yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, and at the end of the day, Multiverses was a good concept that unfortunately just was not executed correctly from the people that developed Multiverses, up top with Warner Bros. Because you know how bad they are as a company right now, and everything in between. The biggest reasons is because of the way they promoted the game and the way they handled the game's releases is ultimately why it failed. And the biggest tragedy of all for this game is that this was the last game, or I think this was last project period that Kevin Conroy worked on, before his unfortunate passing. This was the last time we'll ever hear Kevin Conroy as Batman again. And this was the last game. He passed away shortly after the game's beta was released. And probably will be Mark Hamill's last role as Joker. As he says he does not want to play the character anymore now that Kevin Conroy had unfortunately passed away. So this is really an end of an era. Also, I do have to correct myself. I do think there was a small role that Kevin Conroy did play in Cape Crusaders, but he didn't play Batman. So this was his last role as Batman. Last performance as Batman. And it just really sucks that the game is going out this way. Because this is the last project that we're going to hear Kevin Conroy in as Batman. And it's just really unfortunate that the game didn't last longer. Now, again, the game isn't totally going away because you can still play it offline, but again, it's kind of useless at that point. Because who's going to just want to play offline when there's no rewards or anything really to get? I don't think the virtual shop will be available by the time the final season ends, to even buy stuff because there's nothing to earn. There's no gleams to earn. That's the thing. When it goes offline, there's really, they already got rid of the real money currency shops in this. So the only things left is the shop to buy basically stuff with your gleams, the purple diamonds, and the yellow ones. What's the premiums? The platinum. Right? Those are the only things that you have left to use. And once you run out of those, you're done. There's nothing left to get. There's no more Battle Pass free rewards. So, again, you're just going to be playing offline. Even if the Rift's still around, you're not going to really earn anything. So, at the end of the day, it's just like, there's nothing really to play. You're just playing an exhibition match at that point Nothing really to do at that point, unfortunately. So, in conclusion, it's sad. Game failed for various reasons because it doesn't seem like they really had a plan going all the way back to the beginning with the beta. Which, by the way, I think the beta gameplay was better than what ended up becoming the gameplay in Multiversus to begin with. So, yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think. Did you guys like Multiverses? Um, and are you upset about this too? Again, I hope they do release the skins that have been all finished and voice acted on, but probably won't get that. At the end, I'm out. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.